Market-based measures, MBMs. The International Maritime Organization, IMO, has been actively working on market-based measures, MBMs, to reduce greenhouse gas, GHG, emissions from international shipping. These measures aim to incentivize emissions reductions through economic mechanisms, complementing technical and operational measures. Market-based measures, MBMs, considered by IMO. Emissions trading system, ETS, for shipping. A cap-and-trade system where shipping companies buy and sell emission allowances. Similar to the EU ETS, which now includes maritime emissions from 2024. The IMO is considering a global ETS to avoid regional fragmentation. Global carbon levy on marine fuels. A flat rate price per ton of CO2 emitted. Funds could be used for R&D in zero-carbon fuels and support for developing nations. Proposed levels range from 50 to 300 per ton of CO2. 3. Vessel efficiency incentives. Rewards for overcompliance, example, bonuses for ships exceeding efficiency standards. Penalties for underperformance, example, fees for lagging vessels. 4. Fuel standard with carbon pricing. Combining a greenhouse gas fuel standard, GFS, with a carbon levy. Ships would pay extra for using high-carbon fuels, example, heavy fuel oil, while low/zero carbon fuels, example, ammonia, hydrogen, get incentives. 5. International Maritime Research and Development Fund, IMRF. Proposed by industry groups, ICS, BIMCO, etc. Funding source. Mandatory $2 per ton of heavy fuel oil consumed by ships. Purpose. Accelerate the development of zero-emission vessels and fuels. IMO's progress on MBMs. Initial strategy. 2018 set a goal to reduce shipping emissions by 50% by 2050 versus 2008. Revised strategy. July 2023. Net zero emissions by or around 2050. Stronger ambition. Checkpoint targets for 2030, 20 to 30% reduction, and 2040, 70 to 80% reduction. MBMs are expected to be finalized by 2025 and implemented by 2027. What is EU ETS? The European Union Emissions Trading System, EU ETS, a cap-and-trade system, aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by setting a limit, cap, on emissions and allowing companies to trade allowances, EUAs, to emit a certain amount of CO2 equivalent. EU ETS is launched in 2005. It is the world's first carbon market and among the largest ones globally. It covers emissions from the electricity and heat generation, industrial manufacturing, and aviation sectors. Since 2024, emissions from maritime transport is also included in EU ETS. The salient features are as given below. A maximum limit, cap, is set on the total amount of greenhouse gases that can be emitted by each installations. Cap is expressed in emission allowances, EUAs, each EUA representing the right to emit 1 ton of CO2. The cap is gradually reduced each year to meet the EU's 2030 and 2050 climate targets. Companies covered by the EU ETS receive a certain number of EUAs, either through auctions or free allocation. They can trade these EUAs among themselves, allowing companies with lower emissions to sell excess allowances to those who need them. The price of EUAs is determined by market supply and demand. The EU ETS compliance cycle involves monitoring, reporting, and verification, MRV, of greenhouse gas emissions. Challenges faced by IMO in implementing MBM. Developing versus developed nations. Equity concerns over cost impacts on poorer countries. Alternative fuels. High costs of green hydrogen, ammonia, and methanol. Enforcement and compliance, ensuring global participation to avoid carbon leakage. Difference in opinion among the stakeholders. MEPC 81. Most of the member states prefer global GHG price for shipping. European Union has already implemented EU ETS since 2024. ICS proposes first global carbon levy to speed up industry decarbonization. Reluctance in accepting the proposed zero-emission shipping fund by the stakeholders. Short time for implementation. Expected implementation of a global carbon pricing mechanism by 2027. Thank you for watching the video. For more marine topics, please subscribe the channel. Please help us with your valuable feedback to improve the contents.